talk today about why you don't need another MD. So when it comes to ticks, there's definitely, and Tourette's, there's definitely several schools of thought. So you have the conventional school of thought, you have the natural holistic school of thought. And so when we're looking at tic disorders, conventional school of thought looks at tics as purely neurological. Go to the neurologist, they look at your child, they say it's just a tic, ignore it, sweep it under the rug. My neurologist said your child just needs a good spanking. Yes, he did. And so we are looking at the conventional approach saying tics are just purely neurological. It's happening all right here. It's all happening right here. Whereas the holistic approach, we are looking at that whole body connection, whole body, not I'm going to sage you and rub my crystals on you. No, holistic is looking at the whole body, the whole connection. Functional is about how do you return your body to function. So we're looking at conventional and holistic and functional. We're looking at two totally different schools of thought. And so when it comes to tic disorders, the main thing we do is we go to the doctor. We are all told, ignore it. They'll grow out of it. Don't talk to them about it. You shouldn't talk to them about it because it'll make it worse, which that is a whole nother unpopular opinion that you totally need to talk to your kids about tics. And we can dig into that on another TikTok Tuesday. However, we all go to the doctor. We're told, ignore it, sweep it under the rug. And then you go home feeling frustrated, scared, overwhelmed. You have no idea what to do, no idea how to help your child. You consistently watch them struggle and you don't know what to do. And so when we're looking at, that conventional approach, it's very medicinal based. So let's give you a pill for your ill. Let's give you a pill to put a Band-Aid on your symptoms. Not let's figure out what's going on at the root. What is the connection? Let's give you a pill. And so when we talk about that, there's a study from the Cincinnati Children's Hospital on tics and medications for tics. So first of all, most of the medications for tics are prescribed off-label, which means it is an FDA-approved drug being used for an unapproved use. Most of the time, there is not clinical data studies. Like if you're going to take guanfacine for blood pressure, there's been these really intense clinical studies, and that's what it was approved for. But guanfacine is not approved for tic disorders, although it is prescribed for tic disorders. It is a blood pressure medication. So Cincinnati Children's Hospital did this study, and they said medications prescribed for tics rarely reduce symptoms more than 50%. Did you hear me? Rarely reduce symptoms less than 50%. So what does that mean? We as parents, desperate to help our children, get prescription medications, and then the symptoms don't go away. And we are even more frustrated, and we are even more overwhelmed because they're not helping. But what your doctor doesn't tell you, and most likely what your doctor doesn't know, because he's probably or she is unaware of the study, is that drugs prescribed for tic disorders rarely reduce symptoms more than 50%. And they're usually things like seizure medication and or blood pressure medication. So you have to understand that when we're looking at this conventional approach, this MD, medical doctor conventional approach, this is how they approach it. They are also looking at studies that are about 30 years old. So you have to know that there is this theory called translational medicine that basically states that it takes 30 years for current data, current studies to be taught in medical school. So if you have a brand new doctor, brand new pediatrician, they're already 30 years behind. But you have to consider the fact that if your pediatrician or your neurologist or whomever graduated from medical school 30 years ago, what they learned 30 years ago was already 30 years behind. Your doctor is 60 years behind in the study and the data. So they're not looking at that new information. They're not being taught it. And what they are really taught is you have a symptom. What can we do about that symptom? We can give you a pill. It's not about getting to the root. Holistic is what's going on underneath the hood. What's happening at the root? And conventional is let's give you a pill for that. Taking a pill is not going to get to the root cause. It is not going to treat the root cause. Tics are not the problem. Tics are a sign that there is a problem. Your check engine light is on. Your child's check engine light is on. They are a sign that there is a problem. So you have to look at We need doctors. They are trained for acute care, meaning you have a heart attack, you have an appendicitis, you break an arm. They're trained for acute care. But we have so many, many, many chronically ill people in the United States that they're not trained for that. They're trained to give you a prescription. And those prescriptions aren't going to reduce symptoms more than 50%. So you have to look at the way that we're conventional versus holistic. Holistic practitioners, providers are not meant to take the place of your pediatrician or your MD. You know, you're still going to need to go for your checkups. My kids still go for their checkups every year. And I have a great relationship with my pediatrician. But you don't need another pediatrician. You don't need another MD. You don't need another pediatrician. You need somebody who knows how to look at what's going on inside your child's body. Period. Hands down. My child would not be tick-free. My clients would not be tick-free and on the road to, reduced tick disorders if they did not use this holistic natural approach. So I really, really want to stress that ticks are not purely neurological. They're not. My clients can tell you ticks are not purely neurological. We don't do any neurological work. Believe it or not. We're not doing any neurological work. I'm not saying there's this dysfunction in your brain. I'm saying what's driving these symptoms. And then we're going to work on the entire body. I have a lot of unpopular opinions, but it works. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is how much time your MD gets to spend with you. So just know that your primary care doctor is really constrained, especially if they take insurance, really constrained by time. Insurance companies dictate how much time your doctor can spend with you. So on average, your doctor gets to spend 7 minutes with you. 7 minutes. Your doctor gets to spend 7 minutes with you. And if they want to spend more than 7 minutes with you, and this is on average just across the board, if they want to spend more than 7 minutes with you, you need 2 diagnosis codes. You're going to leave with 2 diagnoses if your doctor spends more than 7 minutes with you. He spends 14 minutes with you, you need 2 diagnosis codes for that doctor to be able to bill you. Why do you think everybody has all these diagnoses? Why does everybody have a laundry list of diagnoses? We had a laundry list of diagnoses. We don't anymore, but we did. Why is that? Because I was in there trying to get this doctor to tell me, what was going on, and we would just get another diagnosis, just SPD, sensory processing disorder, ADHD, cyclical vomiting, tic disorder, blah, 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 blah. Because they dictate how much time your doctor can spend with you. And that really sucks. And so when you're like, oh, I'm going to go to another MD, they don't have time to sit down with you and take an in-depth health history. They don't have time to sit down with you and look over that in-depth health history. They don't have time to look at 935 different biomarkers and figure out what's going on inside your child's body. They don't have time. And a lot of those tests, because you have to have a diagnosis to get a test, you can't get the test because the doctor won't give you the diagnosis. He's like, oh, gotta go. Everything's normal. See you later. So you have to know that the conventional approach can actually be very limiting. Yes, it's great for a checkup. I get my kids in there. They get their checkup. We do our thing. We're out the door. Woohoo. Healthy kids. Bye. We're done. But if I really want to sit down with my provider, they have to really be able to talk about, in their notes, why they took so much time with you. Okay. So you have to understand that conventional approach is also limiting. Yeah, we all have insurance. Boy, I got insurance. I got great insurance, but let me tell you how much money I spent outside of insurance and how much money I spent with insurance and how much time I spent. I wasted time, money, energy, back and forth to doctors, back and forth trying prescriptions over and over and over again. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and getting the same result. This is exactly the position I was in. And this is exactly why my opinion is you do not need another MD. The keyword is another. You don't need another one. Yes, you have one, you have a pediatrician, and you can follow up with that pediatrician every year. But you really need somebody who can get to the root of what is going on. So, medications rarely reduce symptoms more than 50%. Conventional is definitely a pill for an ill. They get 7 minutes with you based on insurance dictating your time. And, they're really influenced by drug companies. So this is my next point. Is a lot of physicians are very much influenced by drug companies. It is a sad, sad, sad truth, but it really is. So here's what I'm going to tell you. If you have not on Hulu watched Dopesick, watch Dopesick. This is prime example of how doctors are influenced by drug companies. And there's laws about doctors getting kickbacks and prescribing drugs and things like that. But their reps bringing them lunch. They're sitting down with them. They're having conversations. They're building relationships with them. So when they come to them and they're like, "Hey, man, we have this new drug. I think it'd be great for your patients." Well, heck yeah, friend. I'm gonna prescribe that for you, because they've built these relationships. So you have to look at how not only are insurance companies regulating the time that they get to spend with you, but these doctors, a lot of them are also influenced by drug companies. Go to Hulu, go watch Dopesick. Don't just, take my word for it, but just look at it. And just look at how many times you've gone to the doctor and they're like, "Well, let me give you a drug for that. Take this guanfacine, take this prednisone, take this blah, 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 whatever it is, take this." So when I'm saying you don't need another MD, I mean it. You don't need another one. You need to find somebody who can help you get to the root of your child's problem. What is going on under the hood? Ticks are not a problem. Ticks are a sign that there is a problem. When your check engine light comes on in your car, do you keep driving it around? Ignore the check engine light. No check engine light. Oh, check engine light's not on. I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to ignore that check engine light. No, you take it to the mechanic. He hooks it up to the diagnostic machines and he tells you what's wrong with your car. Oh, you need a new fan belt. You need to change your oil. You need whatever the case may be. So why do we find that acceptable for our children? Their check engine light is on and we're just going to ignore it. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to ignore it. Right? Why is that acceptable for our children? And so for me, that is, you really want to look at what's going on under the hood. So I have a proprietary process that I created for my own son that I have been using for almost 6 years now. And so what we are looking at is, I use comprehensive neuroimmune analysis. I created it. I use it. This is where we look at 935 different biomarkers in the body. We're going to look at a whole ton of data, so that we can figure out what's going on under the hood. What's happening? Why is your check engine light on? So then we use step 1, which is that comprehensive neuroimmune analysis. Then we use the foundational connection method. We're going to take all of that data, all of those biomarkers. We're going to look at everything that's going on in and around your body. We're going to take all of that. We're going to take your child's in-depth health history. We're going to look at symptoms. We're going to look at toxicity. We're going to take all of those things. And my team and I are going to sit down with them and we're going to say, "Wow, look at all these connections. Look at how this is connected to that in your body. Look at how this is impacting that in your body." Well, no wonder they have, ticks. They have an imbalanced immune system. Look at what's happening in the body. So we use that foundational connection method. And then we use the restorative rescue strategy, 3 steps: comprehensive immune analysis, foundational connection method, restorative rescue strategy. That's what we're going to use. And in that restorative rescue strategy, we are going to come up with a game plan. We're going to give you, mom and dad, kids, short-term and long-term goals to be successful, to reduce tic disorder symptoms naturally. That is the goal. That is the plan. 3 easy steps.